Hello and welcome back to another Speedpaint. My name is Caitlin, or Fangirl, and today I'll be drawing Chuya from the anime Bungou Stray Dogs. The first thing I did was make a digital sketch and printed it out on regular printer paper, and then I traced it onto my good paper, my Strathmore Bristol paper, and I did the line art on that using a light box. Then I taped the Bristol paper on top of the printer paper sketch, and I do the line art. There's not really anything else to say about that. For pretty much all my drawings, I use a sepia Copic multiliner, just because I prefer the softer look. I don't like those like black, harsh outlines. Sometimes I'll even use the brown for the eyes. And then if it's not dark enough, I'll just go over with black later, and I think I did this with this drawing. I don't know. I find using brown, like, I find it safer. I feel like if you make a mistake with a black pen, it's just way more visible, and brown is just more forgiving. So, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I use like regular tape, and like I'm terrified of ripping the paper, so I always like put it on my hand first and then just like rip it off, so it's not quite as sticky. That's my little tip. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Oh my god, I'm left-handed for a second. I drift! Fuck! My sister was baking cupcakes while I was drawing. And we usually have this deal where one person gets to lick the bowl and the other one gets the spoon. And then I was gonna get the spoon, so she came over with it while I was still drawing, and I kind of had to take it because it was about to drip. But I wasn't finished drawing. I just wanted to finish that little area of the hair, so this happened. Luckily, it dripped on my legs and not on my drawing. I've never really spoken about this paper, but I definitely recommend it. I visited the States like 2 years ago, and I was in Michael's for my very first time, and I saw this paper, and I think I had seen it in some other artist's video, and I was like, oh, I need to try that. So I bought it, and I've been in love with it, and even though it's kind of hard to get my hands on here in Norway, I love it. It's thick enough to hold the markers that I use, and it's still smooth, and yeah. Because I've tried out like a pretty big variety of papers, and I feel like most of the marker paper is like way too thin, and I just move my hand and the entire thing crinkles up, and I cannot stand that. I can't have paper that's too thin, but I also can't stand using my markers on like watercolor paper because it's just way too thick, and it just kills my markers. I mean, I don't recommend using watercolor paper for markers because it just completely drains your markers, and you're gonna end up using up a lot more ink than you would have if you had used like this paper. So I recommend it. It probably has to do with the fact that watercolor paper is supposed to be able to hold a lot of water, obviously, and all the water just gets sucked into the paper, and it kills your markers. Don't do it. And I don't believe I've ever really spoken about the markers I use. If you've watched like pretty much any other art video, you've probably heard of Copic markers before. That's what I use. I mean, they're just the best of the best. The downside is that they're very expensive. That's definitely an investment. So if you've never really used markers before and you're not sure if you really want to continue with it, I would definitely recommend starting with something a little cheaper first, seeing if you like it, and then upgrade to Copic markers if, you're sure that that's what you want to do. I've been saving up ever since I first started drawing, or, you know, ever since I first started taking art seriously. And it's pretty much been all I've been wishing for Christmas and my birthday every single year, so, yeah, they're expensive. Anyway, like I mentioned earlier, this is the character Chuya from the anime Bungou Stray Dogs. I finally finished watching season 3. So, you know, I love Chuya, so I wanted to draw him in this somewhat cocky pose. If you haven't seen Bungou Stray Dogs, it's basically just about this detective agency with supernatural powers. That's it right there. So, yeah. You have all these characters with all these different powers. That's kind of cool. I don't really know what else there is to say about it. In the first episode, you meet this guy. I can't remember his name, but I don't know. I think he was like being followed, or he believed that he was being followed by this like white tiger that just went around and just destroyed everything and killed people. And I don't know what I'm saying. That's like the very first case that they deal with. This tiger that goes around. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Just watch it. His hair turned out a little bit too red, but you know, I had to use the colors that, you know, I actually owned. So yeah, ignore it. And then I feel like it looks a little off, that like there's just something about his like dull colors everywhere else clashing with like his vibrant hair that just like, it kind of ticks me off. I don't know why. So I debated to have like this red background or like yellow or something, I don't know, to kind of add that little vibrant touch elsewhere in the drawing. But then I was like, the drawing might come off like too warm. It might blend in with the hair a little bit too much. So, you know, I went with blue because you can't go wrong with blue. Yeah. And then I think red would have fit because like when he uses his powers, I seem to remember him like glowing like red. So that would have been a little cool, but yeah, I panicked and went with blue. I have a storage tip for markers. You should always store them upside down with the side that you use more frequently facing downwards so that the ink flows to that end and is nice and juicy. If you know nothing about markers, basically a lot of these alcohol-based markers have two ends. Like the Copic markers, one end has the brush nib, while the other one has the broad nib, or whatever it's called. And no one really uses that nib. Everyone really uses the brush nib. So I always store them upside down with the brush end facing downwards so that all the ink flows to that end and it's nice and juicy for when I use it, because I don't really use the other end, so I don't really care. But yeah, I guess I'll just talk about my current art projects. Next week's video will probably be of Sylvain from Fire Emblem Three Houses, because I actually just like quickly made a drawing of him yesterday because his wait. It's Saturday as I'm recording this, and this video will be out on Sunday, so the Friday before that was Sylvain's birthday, and I've been wanting to draw him for like the longest time, so I finally did, and I quickly colored it as fast as I could so that it would be finished that day. So maybe that will be next week's video. I'm also working on a drawing of Ariel, which I probably should have done a little sooner, because there's this thing called Mermay in May, where like people draw mermaids throughout May, I guess. And I've actually never joined in on that. I think I've only drawn a mermaid once in my life. That was Ariel, and that was not in May. And then I was like, oh, you know, maybe I should draw Ariel, even though I am not drawing her in her mermaid form. Yeah, I didn't make it in time. But I'll try to join in 1 year, I guess. I don't really like drawing mermaids. But yeah, I'm working on a drawing of Ariel, from that like Kiss the Girl scene. So yeah, that will be the video in 2 weeks from now, I guess. And otherwise, I'm just working on a little something for that Copic Awards thing. So, you know, maybe I have something I can participate with. And I'm thinking of starting a drawing for Seven and Seiron, since their birthdays are next week. Next Thursday, I believe? I don't know. So, you know, maybe I'll do that if I have time. I'm sorry, I don't know why I sound kind of weird right now. I feel like I'm like halfway losing my voice and like I suddenly got so tired. It's not helping that it's like really gloomy and rainy today, and like all I really want to do is sleep and my brain is not working anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. So thank you guys for watching this video. You know, you're really supporting me just by watching this video, so you know, it means a lot to me. And the links to my social media accounts will be in the description if you want to support me on other platforms. And I'll see you guys next Sunday.